Good morning, everyone. We're the last presentation before lunch break, so I'll keep it nice and short so everyone can get to lunch. It's not my first time coming after OrCam. It's a company that I follow for several years now, and it's always a pleasure to go back after OrCam. Rewalk is an exoskeleton. We've talked a lot today about AI and robotics and so on. I would like to introduce to you a perfect harmony between human and exoskeleton and robotic interchange. All right, something's supposed to happen here. Okay, yeah. All right, this quote here was published back in the 20th century in 1947. This is just to give you an idea of what's the impact of spinal cord injury. The pathetic paralyzed patient lying long in a bed, the urine leaking from his distended bladder, the lime leaking from his bones, the blood clotting in his veins, the flesh rotting from his seat, the sebala stocking up in his colon, the spirit draining from his soul. So we're all thinking that once someone has a spinal cord injury, it just ends up with them being not able to walk again. And the wheelchair is the only thing you see. But there's so much more than that. Now, if we're looking deeper into this, we're looking at boneless fractures. People with spinal cord injuries, they lose 40% of their bone mass in the first year of being in a wheelchair. They are very prone to fractures in the early stage. We look at deep vein thrombosis. Pressure ulcers is a terrible one. That's the #1 killer for people in spinal cord injury. Urinary tract infection, that's #2. So all of these are secondary complications that are not necessarily related to the spinal cord injury, but definitely have a tremendous effect on people's lives. And clearly the social economic challenges of sitting down, looking at the world as it's massive, like children. You don't look eye to eye. You're not part of the conversation. A lot of the time, people will just skip you if you're sitting down, and people will talk in a circle between the people that are standing. So this is major. How did it all start? The gentleman in the photograph, Dr. Amit Gopher, he's a brilliant entrepreneur, an electrical engineer, graduated in the Technion Institute in Israel. He was injured by a motor vehicle accident in '97, and he became quadriplegic. That's both his hands and his legs. He couldn't imagine how come in the year 2000 and a little bit, after he got out of the medication, he couldn't imagine how come wheelchair is the only solution. We have pictures dating back in the days of the pharaohs, more than 2,000 years ago. You see a chair with 4 wheels, but still, I mean, in the year 2018 now, people are still offered a wheelchair as the only solution. That's when he started to think that some things need to be changed. So he founded the company in 2001, and we got our FDA clearance in 2014. Now, the mission statement for our company, that's a very bold one. We aim to fundamentally change the quality of life for individuals with lower limb disability throughout the development of market-leading robotic technologies. Now, on the left side there, you see the Rewalk. On the right side, it's a product that you will see early next year in the market for stroke. Let's go over what the Rewalk is. Rewalk, as said, is an exoskeleton. It has 4 motors, 2 in the hips, 2 in the knees that propel for the gait. It gives the power to walk. You have all the motors are connected back to the onboard computer in the waist back, and you have a tilt sensor on the left side of the body. It's kind of like the tilt that you have on your mobile phones, that the screen flips over as you tilt your phone. So this is the same idea. Now you have a remote control that goes on the wrist of your hand, and you can change the different modes. You want to walk or stand or sit or even climb stairs or go down the stairs. Now, if you want to walk, the tilt sensor plays a big role in this process, and I'll show you shortly. Now, we have all discussed, if you can go back to the first, as Anouk will come up the stage, I will go back to the first slide that we've talked about, all the secondary medical complication. We have to understand that the importance of walking and standing up straight. Now, clinical studies have already demonstrated such a major improvement in bowel and bladder function. We don't think about that, but people with spinal cord injury, it can take them up to 3 to 4 hours a day to clear their bowel and bladder. And just by able to walk and stand every day, they can reduce this to half an hour a day, which is a major change in life. Of course, reduction in body fat and a reduction in pain. A lot of our patients, they have neuropathic pain and they start taking those medications. Sleep is something that we don't even think about it. We're all just naturally falling asleep. Can you imagine if you're not doing anything or just sitting all day long? You cannot get naturally fatigued throughout the day, meaning that you have to take sleeping pills. Those are addictive. Causes some people with some serious psychological issues. A friend of mine that uses the system, I didn't understand. He told me, I sleep so good, and he means he just naturally falls asleep. After a good day of walk, he falls asleep, he doesn't need to take the pills. That's a major improvement in his life, and improved mental health. Now, how does it work? If we can run the video. That's not our video. All right, so as we are talking now, Anouk is strapping herself into the system. This is the remote control. So if she would like to stand up, she'll just put stand mode in the remote control. The signal is going to be sent to the onboard computer. After 3 beeps, it's just going to stand up. Now, in order to propel for walking, she will have to shift her body forward. That small tilt that we all do when we start walking, that's exactly that. And it will trigger forward walking. You can walk on uneven terrain. You can walk on all the cobblestone here in the old city in Prague. I mean, I cannot imagine how hard it is with a wheelchair, but standing up and walking is safe. You can safely cross the road with a 2.5 kilometer per hour walking speed. You can even walk on slopes and go up and down the stairs. Go in the park, walk with your dog, and so on. So with that, I would like to give some attention here to Anouk as she finishes strapping herself in the unit. Yeah, okay, just 1 more minute. Anouk is 25 years old. She was having a really rare and bad vaccination occurrence 3.5 years ago, and that left her paralyzed around from the belly button down, that T10 complete spinal cord injury. Are you ready? All right, so she will just tell the system to stand her up. Slight lean forward, 3 beeps. And she can stand up. Now, if Anouk would like to start walking, she would just put walk mode on her controller. And she can just as easily walk forward. She can pivot quite easily. If you take a look at the way she walks, it's a very natural gait. You get a perfect heel-to-toe strike. All the joints are working in the manner that they're supposed to work. And she can just easily stop next to me here on the stage. Of course, that happens. Anouk, would you like to share how do you feel with the rewalk?
Oh, that's a very hard question because the feeling is so amazing. I think if you're not in a wheelchair, if you feel your legs, if you feel while you're walking, you can't understand the feeling. I can't describe it in words.
We have discussed earlier that some of the health benefits that you see while walking after a few days. You've told me that usually you are more spastic. How do you feel changed after using Rewalk for a couple of days?
How you said, I have so many spasms when I walk with a Rewalk, and I can reduce all my pain medicine. I don't need them anymore while I'm walking.
That's fantastic. So, I mean, you see that, first off, it's fantastic to have an eye-to-eye conversation together. Can you share how much you missed that over those course of the years?
It's a lovely history. I met my boyfriend, and he knew me just sitting in a wheelchair. And when I used Rewalk the first time, it was the first time when we stand eye to eye, and he looked into my eyes while standing, and yeah, it's a little bit lovely history, and I love this. Yes.
Thank you so much, Anouk. So just going over where the company will go up next. So Rewalk, in the very short term, we will probably have a next generation. Short term is three years probably. As a next generation that's obviously going to be lighter and quicker and everything that we can expect. But we're definitely looking towards some soft suit. It's a soft shell exoskeleton for other indication, for stroke, for MS, for hemiplegia. These are potentially great market that we are exploring currently. We are doing this together with Harvard University in the USA. We bought their IP and we are bringing this to market. Thank you very much.